in terms of diagnosing, when I actually get to see a patient clinically, we can make a lot of the plans ahead of time, right? So generally speaking, we'll get an x-ray of some sort, either it be a CT or in person. Obviously, this is much easier. But we'll generally get some sort of x-ray from a patient. Either they'll go to an office and get the record, or they'll already have one, or something to the nature of giving me an idea, or Dr. Lax, both of us, an idea of how the teeth sit in the bone and what kind of bone is available. And when you do this so many times, you can look at that x-ray and you can say, well, this is going to be great. This will be very straightforward, etc. I can get an appreciation for how much bone is there, especially if there's teeth. The only thing that gets a little bit funny, and this, is when a patient is in a denture for a long time.
Yes.
Treatment planning a denture from far away is difficult because it's hard for me to discern whether or not there's enough bone width there, right? I can see if there's enough height to do a straightforward case, but I generally can't see a width scenario. Now, this kind of goes into where I think people don't understand is we work very much off of, we're going to get you to the end product no matter what. So here's the extra steps that will get you there. Generally, we don't make it there. Generally, we don't go down this route. But here's the 2 avenues that we might go. Say this person is in Washington, D.C., we'll say, right? You're going to come on a hope or on a promise that when I go into surgery, that's generally where I'm making my decisions. And people are going to hear this. Some people are going to hear this wrong. I don't do a lot of work ahead of time off of the x-rays and off of the clinical stuff and off of a lot of the things in there. My surgery flows based on what actual bone is there and what is going to be the best decision for that patient in that moment. One of the things that I rely on heavily is I was trained in a very foundational surgical basics in terms of skills, and I rely on a lot of my surgical training to see structures and treat them appropriately with them in front of my face.
Right.
I find that a CT is hard for my brain to manipulate, 1. 2, it's very hard to make 100% decisions off of a CT because it's very hard to decide, is this bone strong enough or not? Or when I take this tooth out, will this break off, right? You don't know those kind of things. And so treatment planning and treatment decisions in the surgery has always been one of my strengths. It's been something that I rely on as part of my flow. It's the way that I work. It's the way I operate.
Right.
But that caters nicely, right, to what you have to deal with, which is, hey, Erica, this patient may need some grafting. We're going to do this type. I think of it as a play. We're going to run this play on this person, and we're going to run this play on this person, and here's your percentages. And so that's something that you actually end up navigating, communicating quite frequently.
Yes, absolutely. And it's kind of easy once it actually comes out and then the patients do understand what's kind of going on. But, before the procedure, it's kind of like the unknown in some sort of way to the patient. When we have to go and explain and we're like, hey, because the patient's questioning, do I have enough bone? What is this going to look like? What is that going to look like? And we're kind of, hey, well, the doctor is going to, obviously review everything while he's physically there in your mouth, because that's the best case scenario. He is going to assess what he is working with, make the right call, make the right decision, and go from there, because sometimes it's difficult to say it right off of the CT at the initial consultation. We have an idea, but like you said, it's either we can go this route, but we may need to go this route. So we just try to prepare as much as possible for you to come out of that procedure and still have all of your work done, obviously, properly.
And for me, in our team, the best thing that we can have is the communication with the patient, that they understand the different directions that it's going to go. Mm-hmm. There's lots of different scenarios where maybe we'll say, let's take the denture example. We'll say, hey, I think you have about a 15% chance of this different way that we'll end up treating you and how we're going to stage you. 85% it'll go normal. That 15% may be what they focus on, right? And it may not even happen 15% of the time. I mean, it very, very rarely end up doing it. But when they come to the office and know that I'm going to treat them as best as possible in the right way, it brings a mindset that there's an understanding there that allows me the freedom to treat them appropriate. It allows me to not have to force something to happen. I already kind of told them the different directions it's going to go. And for us, I think what's very different than traditional treatment planning techniques and conventional wisdom is that we are not afraid to just have an open conversation with the patient and say, hey, you're a real person. This may not go perfectly, so this is the alternative. But keeping those channels open is what makes your job easier. It makes my job easier. It makes the patient's experience better. And so I feel that it's important to have this podcast and this conversation to let people know that there's a reason behind the way that we treatment plan. There's a reason why it may feel a little intangible and different than normal, but there's a backing to it. There's a thought process behind it, right?
Absolutely.